Can we take our seats?
Aritsamai mona re
Thank you, councillors. Can we settle down, please? Is Councillor Mhlongo in the house? Councillor Mhlongo, is he in the house? He's not back in the chambers, okay. Councillor Mpahlela?
Thank you, Speaker. So, I'll read on Rule 81.1 of the Standing Rules of Council and Orders. When the debate on the recommendation has been concluded, the presiding officer may postpone the decision of the item until the time determined for such decision. So, here we are saying, and according to Rule 81.1, we are saying, be first well informed to take the proper decision because there is no such found on SALGA or COCTA guidelines that say the mayor should be the only councillor with a prerogative to appoint the two councillors. So as EFF was saying, that recommendation is wrong and is misleading to this house. The mayor can be the only councillor. This thing should be done by the entire councillors of the city of Johannesburg. I thank you.
MMC Not, you want to respond to this? Councillor Christians.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, the DA's position on this is that they are...
You had your chance to raise the issue. I've given you the opportunity. You have raised it. Councillor Christians, continue, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, the DA's position on this is very clear. There are three regulatory factors that the MMC has put into the recommendation, which is the manager, the city manager, the MMC, and an external person. The fourth recommendation there is that of the council, that it must agree that the executive mayor will appoint the other two, and we still stand by that, and we ask that you put it to a vote. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. There is standing rules. The recommendations are in front of us. Those councillors that agrees with the recommendations, please at this time put up your hands.
Speaker.
Currently, it's about history.
I can't hear you, Councillor Christians.
Speaker, the process for voting is first yea or nay before we go to putting up our hands.
I know. Councillors?
But also this council can't be run by Christian now and then.
This thing is really out of order.
Councillors,
Honestly, it is really out of order. It cannot be. And we've been allowing this thing, I don't know, since
Councillors.
I arrived in this council. And it means to say, even yourself, you're out of order. Because you are always taking decision for your party, not in the interest of this country.
councillors, the recommendations are on page 68.3. Is the recommendations agreed to? Thank you. I hear the yeses.
No, Speaker. No and yes is
The
different.
yeses.
No.
The yeses have it. Thank you.
Speaker.
Speaker.
Councillor Radebe. Okay, I thought you were. Please speak, Councillor.
Sure, Speaker. Speaker, you must have, I understand that we all wish to grow as old as you so that we can also have a hearing problem like yourself. But you can't just say the yeses have it. Because now from my point where I'm standing, the noes have it.
We would really.
So
You
we're
heard
asking
yourself.
for a division of the
Councillor,
house.
please. You're asking for a division.
Yes.
Speaker, any
Councillors, I'm going to repeat it again. So that we make double sure. Giri. You're saying I'm deaf.
Yes, you are deaf.
Councillors, the recommendations on on page 6.83. The recommendations on page 68.3 is the recommendations agreed to.
No.
Councillors,
yes.
thank you, councillors. It's unclear. I think you heard me all properly this time.
Speaker.
Speaker,
So
we're not running
councillors,
a
I'm going to
choir
have it by
here.
a show
We
of
want
hands
for the
first.
We asked long ago for division of the house.
Councillors, at this point, can I please ask that
Is up.
the noes and the yeses, and I'm going to call them separately, to please raise your hands when I do that.
We are not there.
You get yes.
What's the rush?
You can do it.
Speaker, what is the rush?
You can do it.
Give us a chance to talk to you, please. What is the rush?
We can't.
We've just put in a request through as EFF. You're
talk
not
the
listening
whole
to me.
evening.
No,
We are now going for a vote
no.
That this house was on order before you
on
came,
this
Speaker.
recommendations. Thank you very much. Councillors, those that agrees with the recommendations on page 68.3, please raise your hand.
Speaker.
Please raise your hands at this time. Thank you.
What are you saying?
What are you saying, Gama?
Please repeat
Can
what
we
you
have a
just said.
count, please?
Asizwanga.
Speaker, this is obvious.
Can I have a count, please?
Ah, is it? Now, wait.
Hayi bayeke.
So when you're the executive mayor,
Thank you.
Yet, Ulokunja was saying, Agabaifuni executive mayor because they bring tea. Now they agree.
Mari, he said,
Let's
yeah,
give it.
now he
Yeah,
said
let's give it.
himself he
Ah,
doesn't
let's
want the
give it.
Cape
Let's
Town
give it.
deployment. Mari, he's contradicting themselves.
We must be principled.
Cool.
Councillor Maruma, you raising your hand for DA Vede.
What with TACTAs, yeah.
Hey, Councillor Serran is so nice. Angry you voted the mayor in Wahopula.
Very long. And there's nothing wrong with this. We've done it previously. Was I remember? Even the last council, this is the last council meeting. With the, the city manager. You remember that report that asked for the recruitment process, yeah? Yes. It was the same recommendations. Is it done on this side, councillors? Yes. And this side? Thank you very much. You can put your hands down. Can those that don't agree with the recommendations on page 68.3 please raise their hands? One hand, councillor. One hand, yes. Thank you. Councillor Arnolds, are you sitting or standing? Liefhebbers.
The Cape Town deployment will
Yeah. Thank you, councillors. You can put your hands down at the bottom and the top. You're done. Thank you.
the DA is multiplied by 94 numbers. It's great, eh?
Councillors, is there any abstentions? Abstentions? None. Thank you very much. I'm still busy with the process of the numbers. Councillors, the yeses have it, 210, and the noes, 32. Thank you. The item is carried. Thank you very much. Councillor Danja.
Order, Speaker. Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I'm rising on rule number 78, the serious contravention by a councillor, as well as rule number 80, the grave disorder. Speaker, I submit that the Speaker of Council, Councilor Gama, has been partial, biased, partisan, by giving only the DA members platform to speak in this council. And therefore, in terms of this, he must be referred to the ethics in terms of item 13 and 14 of the Code of Conduct for councillors. We will provide evidence for all the other things. Thank you very much.
Councillor, there is a procedure to raise contempt. That's not the procedure. Thank you. Councillors, can we please
Speaker.
to item 69. Thank you very much. Councillor Knott.
Thanks, Speaker. Before you read out the recommendation, we ask for your indulgence. There needs to be a correction to recommendation 2.1. It should be the 11th of January 2022 to the 16th of March 2022. Thank you.
Please give me the recommendation page. I'm not speaker, I'm a council. So address me properly, I'll respond.
Can I speak?
Yes, speak.
The MMC spoke. I don't know what was she speaking on. Which item was that? What was she saying? Because earlier on, Councillor Christian said debate is closed. We even went further and voted. And now she's speaking on the same, I don't know. If I'm wrong, correct me. But I want to know on which item was the MMC speaking and what was she saying?
Councillor, we are on item 69 currently. Secretary, will you just read out the item first?
Item 69, it's the acting arrangements for senior managers, section 56.
Thank you very much. Councillor Knott, you wanted a recommendation changed. Please just show us to the right page.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, it's 69.5, recommendation 2 in brackets 1. The date should be 3 months from the 11th of January 2022 to the 16th of March 2022. The same correction would then be made in the body of the report on page 69.2. Thank you.
I'm sure it's correctly recorded. Councillor Mpahlele?
Speaker, we're asking that the MMC changes the recommendations on which rule? Which rule allows her to change the recommendations? Thank you.
Councillor, it's a report, and obviously that can be changed any time. And she's done it correctly. So, councillors, can we please continue? Councillor Msita.
Thanks very much, Speaker. I think Rule 96 is clear on what must happen in terms of changing of recommendations. And I think it says 1 hour, if I'm not mistaken. And it's now being done by word of mouth. We don't have it. And councillors are going to debate on a recommendation, a changed recommendation, which they don't have. So I think somebody said earlier on that you are being partial.
Councillor, before you
and
continue.
you need to correct that.
No, Councillor. No, you are wrong.
Who's wrong?
Because you just quoted motions.
Yeah.
We are not busy with motions. That's where you amend. We're talking here about recommendations that has been provided by the executive, and they're just changing a date.
And which rule is that? Councillor Mpahlele asked about that.
No, Councillor, I'm
And
not
you-
going to
you never
respond to
answered
that.
him.
It's an executive
Which rule is
report.
that?
They've got a right to change
I
it
know it's an
when they want to.
executive report.
Thank you.
But I'm
not
saying
going to,
which rule?
I'm not going to quote it.
That's
to you.
what
Thank
was
you,
asked
Councillor.
earlier on it.
Please take your seat, Councillor Sitla. Please take your seat. Take your seat. While you're speaking, I'm not going to respond. Thank you. Councillor Masuku.
Speaker, good evening. I think what we just ought to do, ordinarily, the executive would have indicated that there would have been a replacement item before the item was tabled. So for progress, because we also have links, the executive can always upload the matter that has now been amended, because it will take forever if we must wait for copies and then they must be distributed. At least it was read out on record, but can we at least just have the replacement item in the Google Drive so that council can continue?
Thank you, Councillor Masuku, for that suggestion. And I hope that the executive takes that on. Councillors, according to the
Speaker, there's a hand that on your
Councillors,
left-hand side.
just to respond to Councillor Msitle at the same time. Councillor, will you please switch off your mic? Thank you. This is best practice, and I don't have to quote rules on this particular issue. We are here, we've got an open discussion. The MMC has made the recommendation to change the date, and that's it. Thank you. Councillors, Councillor Arnolds is the first speaker on this.
Speaker.
Councillor Arnolds.
Speaker, their hands this side.
On your left-hand side,
Councillor
there's a
Arnolds?
hand.
Speaker.
Councillor Arnolds.
Speaker.
Speaker, there's hands. Uganek Prat.
Yeah, we have a hand here.
Alakan Ras.
No, I've allowed enough time to speak on this. Councillor Arnolds, please continue. Please continue speaking, Councillor Arnolds.
Thank you, Speaker. As much as we agree with all these reports, and we are happy to see that we are going to go out of Bollywood, Hollywood, generations, Mbango, we are moving somewhere in getting, especially the senior managers. But Speaker, as the minority oppositions, the recommendations on 69.5, we agree with the first recommendation, that council approve the further extension of the acting appointment in respect to 1.1 Umlando Kona, I hope I pronounced it right, in the capacity of group head, group governance for a period not exceeding 3 months, and I believe it has been changed from 16 March 2022 to 12 June 2022. That one we are fine with. 2, that council notes the decision of the acting manager for the acting appointment of number 1, Mr. Mesuli Umlandu, who's also the Uzi of the city, in the capacity of Chief Operations Officer for a period not exceeding 3 months from 11 January 2022 to 10 April 2022. We reject his acting. Number 2, Kidiboni Simenya.
Points of order.
We are fine. Number 3, Mr. Charles Silo Kungwane.
Councillor Arnolds, there's a point of order. There's a point of order. Will you please take your seat, Councillor Arnolds?
Thank you, Speaker.
MMC, not.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt Councillor Arnold. Just a point of clarity, because she is confusing the 2 recommendations. There is no change to recommendation 1.1. The change was made to recommendation 2.1. So that recommendation for Mr. Masuli Mlandu will read from the 11th of January 2022 to the 16th of March 2022. I don't want councillors to be making decisions based on incorrect recommendations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. But I've read it exactly the way it is, yeah. And I'm saying that we reject it, whether it's on the 16th, Haimut Mahan, Baba Msweli, Kidiboni Simenia, in the capacity of Executive Head, Office of the City Manager, we agree. Charles Silo, we agree. I'm not certain with this one of Mpo Komane, because it says from the 2nd of March 2022 to 6 March 2022. I think that one is gone, so you want us to condone that. Andile, who is currently now sitting there as the acting secretary to council, we agree. The others, number 3, all of them, we agree. And we are saying we need to stop the acting. Muvango is gone. The Turkish ones are going to be gone when we no more have it on TVT. Thank you.
Councilor Nontenja.
Councillor Notencha is not in today, Speaker. Sorry for not standing.
Thank you. Councilor Mpahlele.
Sure, speak. Ngaro onyaka dipolitiki. Speaker, we as the legislative arm of council, we are here to hold the executive accountable. That's number one. So you cannot disallow us the opportunity to hold them accountable. We are going to hold them accountable. And then, yeah. And then on the item 98, Speaker, we're saying as EFF that you are always
98.
69, man. 69. The council approved, that's the recommendation, the council approved the further extension of the acting appointments in respect of to. So I don't know if we are reading it wrong, because the previous speaker said the acting is the end of acting. But here it says the extension of the acting appointment. So according to our understanding is that we are saying we are giving them more months to act. We are continuing with the acting. And if we are wrong, we stand to be corrected. But then what it says here is that we must accept this so that we can have an acting city manager who's going to approve the acting of other 8 people. So all of us here are acting. Yeah? Next time we'll be having an acting mayor or an acting councillor, because you as a speaker there, we really need to advertise your post. You are acting otherwise. So, as EFF, we are not agreeing with acting. We have never agreed with acting from the first time. We are saying 3 months down the line, it will be back in council, this thing that we must extend again, the acting. And we're denying the first time, we're saying, we're denying, if we are allowing you now for 3 months, let it be the last 3 months. In this time, there must be a process so that we can appoint people. There must be a panel. And this panel, this time, must not have 2 people which are the prerogative of the mayor. Because the mayor is a councillor. Maybe sometimes they forget. She's a councillor. So she must not have a prerogative over all the other councillors. It must be a council decision that these are the 2 people who are sending as council. Just like the COCTA and a recommendation. So right now we're saying we can allow the acting for 3 months, but we are never going to accept it after the last 3 months. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Please switch off your mic, thanks. Councillor David Green.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise on item 69.1 on the acting arrangements of senior managers. The fact is, having so many senior officials in an acting position destabilizes the governance of the city. The current vacancy rate is in direct conflict to priority 1, a city that gets the basics right, and priority 6, a well-run city identified in the IDP. We begrudgingly approve the further extensions of acting appointments as we acknowledge that it is necessary in the process of shortlisting, interviewing, and appointing suitable candidates to the vacant positions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ngusi.
Thank you, Speaker. As the African National Congress, we note the changes. As Councillor Vasco indicated, that we will be delighted if the changes made can be made available for ourselves. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. MMC not.
Speaker. Speaker.
Councillor Sithole.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker.
Councillor Sithole, your name was not on my list.
Yeah, ngisukumela lokho. Ngemba ngikunikile mosibizo nangenako nasithoma kulama item awu2 wangibuza Speaker ukuthi ngibani uzakhuluma ku ACDP.
Angithi ivaliwe nge-MMC.
Ingakho ngiphakama before MMC.
Okay.
Thokoza. So ngingathi kumanifumela na kuningena makini.
Councillor, can we please continue? No, ungakhulumi ngalesikhathi, please. I'm on Councillor Not. I've called her name out. She's going to close the debate, Councillor. Please. Thank you.
Mara Speaker kwesibili ungivalela ngaphandle mos.
Hayi. Igama yakho ayikho la. Anginayo.
Kanjani ngoba ngikunikile Speaker?
Anginayo kule item. Please. Councillor Not. Thank you.
Speaker, in all fairness, Councillor Sithole did request that his name be added to both items. He did. In fairness, he did request so, and I still made a note of it on mine. When you asked which speakers were going to speak on the items, I noted his name on both items because he did make that request. I think that is only fair. It was agreed to at the time.
Okay, then it's my omission then.
Madam Speaker, what kind of nonsense is this? What kind of nonsense is this?
That is running the shot.
I sometimes make mistakes.
Speaker, you are not in charge here. You are exposing yourself.
You're shouting.
You are exposing yourself.
You're shouting. Certain things are missed.
Speaker, you are exposing yourself. You can see that you are not in charge there.
The president has held.
No wonder Mike Moriarty was here. Now we can see why.
Thokoza Speaker.
Councillor Novella.
The mic is off. Speaker, you know, I'm tempted to say that motion by Councillor Dlanjo is extremely correct. You are outsourcing your responsibility. The rule book says the decision of the presiding officer is final. But because it's Councillor Not, that decision can then be reversed just like that. You are biased. You are biased. You made a ruling which you did not agree with. But because you have made that decision, we sat down. You make a decision now that Councillor Sithole must sit down. His name is not on the list. Councillor Not must stand up and close the decision, the debate. She stand up and advocate for Councillor Sithole. You change your decision. So let it be known and be recorded in this council that the decision of the presiding officer can be challenged and can be reversed. And if that is the case, we are happy to sit down and then we allow Councillor Sithole to speak because it will be a field day. The decision of the presiding officer is final.
I've heard you.
Not even Councillor Not can reverse it.
Councillor Not, please close the debate. Thank you.
The madam has spoken.
Thank you.
Thank
the
you,
madam has
Speaker.
spoken.
I think, let me rather leave it there. Yes, we completely agree in terms of the acting arrangements, and I think we have had this discussion at council previously. I am pleased to note that many of these, including the group executive for GCSS, GSPCR and economic development, are in process. So we have extended those in order to allow for that process to be completed. In terms of the first one, again, that one is also in process. In terms of the second recommendation, please note that this is for noting, not for council approval, and you will note that the recommendation reads as such. We thought it was in the interest of council to notify them, and with regards to the Government Gazette on the appointments of senior managers and acting arrangements, that this decision is made by the city manager for the first acting period. So those positions are listed there. It is in council's interest that councillors are aware of who is acting, particularly in section 56 appointments, as this information is crucial to the work that they do on the ground, and in particular with regards to items 4 and 5, which are the acting arrangements for the secretary to council. And I think that's it in a nutshell. And then in terms of the COCTA regulations, which is the last recommendation, the further extensions will be sent through to the MEC as a matter of courtesy. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Councillors, the recommendations are on page 69.5 and 69.6. Is the recommendations agreed to? Thank you.
Moving on to item 70, which is a report regarding alleged non-compliance and or misconduct by the acting city manager in the procurement. Sorry.
Please table it first. Continue.
Item 70.
Yeah.
Yes, item 70, it's a report regarding alleged non-compliance and or misconduct by the acting city manager in the procurement of handheld devices and CCTV cameras in the public safety department, and request to investigate the allegation.
Thank you. MMC not.
Thank you, Speaker. Can I request that council go in committee and that the item be distributed to councillors? Thank you. For both items, items 70 and 71. They are
Thank you
both
very
in
much.
committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, councillors. Obviously, this is an item that we normally go into in committee. There's two items for in committee. Can you please just read out 71?
Item 71 is a report regarding alleged non-compliance and or misconduct by the head of the Department of Public Safety in the procurement of the CCTV cameras, and request to investigate the allegations.
Can I, at this point, ask the officials that to leave us, accept the legalese in front, and Judith with the acting secretary to council. The officials, please, just to leave us at this time.
Speaker.
The cameras to be switched off. I see the one is flashing on top. Streaming to stop on top.